It's time for social media buzz now, and we have Chioma Amarigbola sitting by. Good morning.
Good morning, Samson.
Good morning, Chioma.
Good morning, Margaret. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Always sparkling as
usual.
usual.
Thank you.
Yes, actually, you look good as well.
Thank you.
Well done. Good morning, viewers. It's time for social media buzz. Over to the first story. Zamfara government offered students scholarships to study medicine, engineering, information technology, and other sciences in various institutions in Cyprus, US, UK, Netherlands, India, and Sudan. Now, Governor Matawali owes Cyprus University £297,509. Governor Bello Matawali says plans are underway to pay up. The governor disclosed that the money included £200,000 as tuition, accommodation, and meal fees to be paid out of £209,509 initially owed for the 2021 to 2022 academic year. This is contained in a statement issued by the Commissioner of Information, Ibrahim Dosara, on Tuesday in Gusau. Dosara said the Central Bank of Nigeria would disperse the amount into the various accounts of the students. According to the Commissioner, £23,157 would be disbursed as residence permits and £8,843 would be disbursed to the 91 students. In a statement, the Zamfara government said, and I quote, "The government therefore appealed to the students, parents, and the university to exercise more patience as the matter will soon be resolved, and the students will continue their studies with minimum delay," end of quote. Now, taking some comments, Abdul says, BBC Hausa service reported on Monday that the 91 students of Zamfara who were currently on the state government scholarship to Cyprus have been sent sparking out of the university campus. This action was as a result of the non-payment of their bursaries as well as money for hostel accommodation. And Lord Akos says he would rather pay murderers. Finally, Luigi Martins says next governor will have to pay because this man isn't considering paying. He will blame his inability to pay on insecurity. Samson, Margaret, I know we Nigerians always, we break records wherever we go to. Now, having the government owe a country tuition fees for their students, yeah? So the government deliberately or willingly sent the students out, gave them scholarships and sent them to Cyprus to study. So knowing fully well that they couldn't pay up, I mean, this is a national embarrassment, having your students sent out of the school, sent out of the hostel, they can't attend lectures, they are stranded. You can't pay up their tuition fees, their accommodation fees, their meal tickets, nothing. That's a very bad record. If you ask me, what do you think about this?
It's a very bad one, and I think it's worrisome because the Zamfara state government, yes, has been bedeviled with several issues of insurgency, especially banditry, and they've had so much to deal with. But having said that, they've also spent so much. So it's all about misplaced priorities. More often than not, we see, the government spend money on frivolities rather than channel it to, various sectors where they are needed. We've had in this same nation where a government is owing salaries, yet spends, millions of naira on, luxurious cars for traditional rulers and monarchs and what have you. So it's not new. It's just embarrassing that this is happening on the international scene, and I feel for the students who had to be sent out and the whole embarrassment that comes with it. Having said that, you would expect that by now the federal, the state government should do something about paying up entirely. But the talk is, we'll pay up, we will. Again, when will that be carried out? That's what we do not know. But I think it's quite ridiculous. I know how much various state governments spent on traditional rulers and all in the last 6 months. So it's embarrassing that this is happening.
And if they had rectified the issue we had here with our Nigerian universities, there might probably be no use of them sending them out. Sending them out, for scholarships to other countries. Why not fix our issues here in Nigeria?
That the money in pounds, if you convert it to Nigerian naira, you see that the issue of ASU would be sorted out in a blink of an eye. Now, well, this is a national embarrassment. Of course, we've faced a lot of embarrassment. So it's more like it's not becoming no way you've had to face so much, and you're not like seeing it as normal. This happened sometime in River State with the current Minister of Transportation. Rotimi Amici. It happened. Students were sent to Cyprus and all of that, and at some point they were unable to pay their tuition fee. They came back. When Wike took over, he couldn't also. Amici and Wike had to leave, so they had to. All of those conversations they had to come back. Some of them, their parents had to continue from there. Those that couldn't make it,
wow.
Whatever happened to them happened to them. It's been recurrent now. I'm looking at it from the area of fixing the educational system. If we fix our educational system, is it a taboo for students in Ghana, Cyprus to come over to Nigeria, right, to learn? It's not a taboo, so we are so comfortable with moving to Cyprus. Personally, I wanted to even school in Ghana, but when I saw the tuition fee for medicine and surgery at that point, it was in dollar. As a Nigerian student, wow, you're paying in dollar, and your tuition fee, your accommodation, and that was far back, how many years ago? Now the dollar has not even increased. Then we couldn't even afford it to start with. So imagine Nigeria and Ghana, the next neighbor, and I'm asked to pay in naira, in dollar. And I'm wondering, I'm not even paying in the Ghana cedis, I'm not even paying in Nigerian naira, wow, I am paying in dollars. So it says how much they are earning from foreign students. Of course, when if you're not a Ghanaian, you're obviously a foreign student and you pay in dollar. They don't care if you're from a country that uses dollar or not. So imagine that happened. The North American invest in Benin Republic. All of those options we explored, but it didn't even work. So it is a taboo. Cyprus is very far. Students go to Ghana. Students go to Benin Republic. Students go to what's it called, Cotonou, to school. Yeah, that's Benin Republic. To school. Is that a taboo for them to, in return, come to Nigeria? Nigeria has what it takes. Our students here, they may not even have best grades here, but they go over there and they have wonderful grades. You ask what's happening. The system, but the curriculum, everything has crippled the Nigerian students, and it makes it look like they don't know what they are doing. So all of those things, if the educational sector can be handled, we won't need to spend all of those money. We rather invest it in our sector, and we'll see that we have all it takes, from lecturer to students to infrastructure, to make our system enviable for everybody around the world to want to come into. So that's it.
All right, moving on to the second story. Rwandan authorities arrested a 24-year-old woman, Lilian Mugabekazi, on August 7th for wearing a sheer dress to a concert. She was sentenced to 2 years imprisonment after being found guilty of public indecency. Spokesman for the prosecution, Faustin Kusi, had said the woman committed serious crime for appearing naked in public, saying it was a shameful dress. This gathered lots of reactions online, but taking a few. Wandal says prison is a harsh sentence, but public indecency is one of those laws we tend to neglect as society. Unconsented displays of public nudity is something seen too often these days, and there are laws against public indecency in almost every country. Antina Chiremba says hypocrites. Our ancestors used to dress with skin clothes covering their back and front. The boobs were exposed. Now you want to borrow Western ways of dressing. Africans are a curse to themselves. And Oru Solo says, which crime did she commit? She wore what she felt comfortable in. And finally, someone says, how many men have you arrested playing soccer without shirts on? Hypocrites. Sending her to jail because you are unable to control your feelings. She has on this beneath. Leave people to dress the way they like. What do you have to say about this?
I rather get something thought first.
I rather get that thought first.
But then the thing is there a law in Rwanda that is against public display of nudity? If there is, and everyone is acquainted with that law, okay. But if there is not, or maybe they're not acquainted with the law, sending someone to jail based on how she decides to dress, it could be an extreme punishment. If it's Rwanda an Islamic country, is it purely Islamic? We know the Islamic Islam, Muslims, they don't expose their bodies. So is it purely Islamic? Is there freedom of expression, dressing and what have you in Rwanda? Is there not? So those are the questions that should be asked. Well, someone said something. I believe that people as much this is my personal belief, as much as I want to feel comfortable in what I wear, I wouldn't want to I mean, I want to dress in that kind of way. That's personal to me. Someone else may want to dress in that way he or she feels comfortable in. As a matter of fact, we Africans, when we see the Western people from the Western world dress in certain ways for their concerts, we cheer them. But when it comes to Africans, we're having problem. Now, someone talked about something with anklets and waist beads, and I'm wondering, if you look at in the Igbo traditional history, a lady who wears anklets and waist beads, the beads determines the wealth of your family or your husband. But now we see that when someone wears an anklet, a beaded anklet, or what, you is termed either a lesbian or a prostitute. This thing may mean different things to different people. For me, it may be a fashion statement. For you, it may be different things. So your ideology of how I should dress shouldn't form my decision of how I should dress. Personally, I may not want to wear that. But fashion is really what you feel comfortable in. And then, well, it may seem nude in some societies. If she did that in an Arabic nation, I could say, yes, she knows very well. But Rwanda, like someone quoted, you've not had arrest of people, men wearing, playing football shirtless. And if we look
sagging, and exposing their bare bottom.
Yeah, and I'm not even trying to be biased right now, but the thing is, if we have to be realistic or to have a fair judgment, then every single person has a fault to blame, because what you think is decent, I may see it as indecent. So decency is really relative. Your sense of decency may be, someone may see what I'm wearing as, well, she's exposing body, but I may see what you're wearing as and I can't wear things like this. So if you want to look at even the African traditional religion, the African sense, if you look at before the Western world brought about clothes, what do we used to wear? For crying out loud, in my tradition, I'm an Igbo girl, proudly Igbo girl.
We used to tie wrapper,
and tie it, and it shows the beauty, and the waist bead and anklets, it shows the beauty of a lady. Will you call that exposing? Okay, now we've copied the Western world so much that we have clothes and suits, and now we have to force people to dress in the way we term decent. If there should be a punishment, a jail term is an extreme measure for that.
Something.
Well, where there's no law, there's no crime. Once the law is there, then it becomes a crime when you go against it. I'm not familiar with that particular law of Rwanda. If it's spelled out in the laws of the land that if you dress indecently in the public, it would, warrant a jail term, then you can understand where the sentencing is coming from. It's based on the law. Having said that, yes, it seems extreme. I mean, it was just an indecent dressing. It's not like she killed someone or stole something or, committed another crime that seems, punishable in terms of being sentenced to prison. Again, it depends on what the law of the land is saying. Again, I get the whole point of indecent dressing and, what various societies have to say. We should understand that we have the free world. Yes, America prides itself as one, but you also have some worlds that are not entirely free within that context. So it's whatever guides or governs the laws of that land that will definitely be obtainable. Having said that, I think it also needs to be spelled out. If virtually every law on earth has a law that has to do with indecent dressing, is it explicitly spelled out? What you can term as indecent dressing in some climes may not be indecent dressing in other climes. As she said, in your Islamic states, maybe like your Iran, for example, or Saudi Arabia, you can't wear a skirt that is knee length or even, above the knee. So all of these things have been in perspective. I think at the end of the day, the lady will probably have learned her lessons, especially if the sentencing is credible on the basis of the law of Rwanda. Okay. I think it's just what it is.
Okay, but in a nation where it is not spelled out, where you don't have indecent dressing as a crime, should the way you dress actually be anybody's business? Shouldn't you wear something you're comfortable in? So if you want to wear bomb shorts and go out, with probably a tube, should you, because it's a free nation, it's a free world, you have freedom of dressing, so should you actually dress whichever way you want to without caring what happens to your neighbor or how your neighbor is going to feel about what you're putting on, if you're going to lead some people astray? Because Christians say that, you should cover up, don't lead your neighbor, don't cause your neighbor to sin, you understand? So as people, should the way we dress be just our business? Or should it be our neighbor's business as well?
That will depend on, you know, the nations involved. Some nations are very liberalized, others are very conservative. So it depends. I mean, there are certain things you can do in Europe and America, you know, the Western world basically, that you can't do in probably the Middle East or your Asian nations. Again, it depends on what the society is. The society may not spell it out in terms of the law of the land, but if it's a conservative, you know, society that has to do with cultural norms and values of old, you just have to fit in. As they say, when you're in Rome, you behave like Romans. Yes, you may want to wear a bomb shot and all, probably in your Western world or America, and be fine. If you get down to places like your Southeast Asian nations or the Middle East, you can't do that. So if we are going there, you just probably have to cover up. Again, it depends on what the laws of the lands are stating, and you should understand that some nations are freer than others. So I think it's the issue of, you know, expression of oneself in terms of fashion being a personal statement, you know, you just being at liberty to dress the way you want to, has to do with, one, the laws of the land, and two, how free that society is.
Okay. All right. So I'll just quickly add that. Like you said, if it's clearly spelled out, it would be taboo, or it would be you looking for trouble to know that this has been clearly spelled out and you go against the laws. If it's not clearly spelled out, it would be say ignorance. It would say that it wasn't clearly spelled out. But the thing is, because like it's based on faith. As a Christian, I know what the Bible said about indecent dressing. Well, the thing is, indecent itself is relative, because people have gotten raped wearing a full regalia. People have gotten raped wearing a hijab, that you're not covering anything. So you're asking, what happened? I'll give you quickly a personal experience. I'm a curvy African woman, quite alright, plumpy and
pretty.
Yeah, thank you for adding that. But then I wore a gown, one of the gowns like that back then in school, a long gown, a maxi gown to church. So somehow it was long, but it wasn't so free. But then it was long and everything was covered, and someone said, one of the pastors in school there said, "Oh, I can see your figure." And the question is, I don't know how else you want me to dress, because it was a long gown. I can hide my figure. It is what I was created with. So there was really nothing. And now that could be indecent in her own sense. The thing is that based on faith, you know what your faith said. We know what is comfortable for you. Some people dress not because they feel comfortable in it, but because pressure. Everybody was doing this and we have to do the same thing. So it's based on decision and what your faith said. Well, that's all we can take on this edition of
Thanks for having me. Thank you, Samson.
Thank you so much, viewer, and thank you for being with us on Monday up till today. It's the Wednesday segment. We will take the quote of the day, and the quote says from Lolly Dascow: "When you stop chasing the wrong things, you give the right things a chance to catch you." It's quite simple and self-explanatory. When you stop chasing the wrong things, you give the right things a chance to catch you. And that's all we can have for you today. Don't want to join us tomorrow, same time, same station. I am Margaret Opara. Do have a wonderful Wednesday.
And I am Choma Amaribulam. Do enjoy the rest of the day.
Do have a great day. I'm Samson Olede.